Welcome to the Women in Tech podcast series, brought to you by Wisconsin Tech Month. This series is all about shining a light on the women who are driving change and breaking barriers in tech. Each episode is about celebrating their journeys, successes, and the impact they're making in our industry. Let's hear their stories.
Growing up, I was always considered the go-to person in my family for tech help with the computer. Our first gateway computer, AOL, dial-up. Always was the one to help my family and eventually my grandparents too when they got their first computer, get it set up for them. And so I always had an interest in technology. While I didn't graduate with a degree in technology, it was always in the back of my mind that I thought it was a really cool, innovative field. So after I graduated from college, I was just online looking for jobs, and I stumbled across an entry-level IT job with the Brewers. And I thought to myself, why not me? I love the Brewers. How cool would it be to work for them? So I applied. I got an interview. I didn't get that entry-level job, but the hiring manager saw something in me still, and offered me an internship. So I said, yeah, let's get my foot in the door. Let's give that a shot. So I accepted that. It was just a part-time intern doing basic help desk stuff, really learning. Eventually started to transition more into the telecommunications landscape. He was really building the department at the time. And so they didn't have anybody in the telecommunications space there. So he started having me do a lot of training on that and research on what they currently had, the phone system there, the wireless landscape there. And so while I was still learning help desk and other stuff, I was also job shadowing into telecommunications. And so I did a lot of that. Like I said, I asked a lot of questions. I did my own training and research. I job shadowed our phone system vendor that came in for, fixes and breaks. I probably annoyed him with the amount of questions that I had, but I just really wanted to learn. So I worked hard to learn everything I could to succeed. And I did. I was offered a full-time job at the Brewers at the end of 2007 as a telecom administrator. And then I really worked my way up from there, to senior telecom administrator to then the manager of the help desk, to senior manager of IT operations, to where I am today as the director of IT operations. I feel like my position is really unique, and I use it as one of my motivations to keep doing better and setting a good example, because there are not a lot of women, at least when I started in the space, especially in the sports industry that I'm in. So when I first started with the Brewers, there was a few women. I think there's one other woman in my department. And so I relied a lot on her. Her and I kind of worked very closely together on things. And then she left, and then I was the only woman in the department. So I really used it as a big motivator to show up every day, put my best foot forward. Early on, I constantly felt like I had to prove myself. And while it might have been more on like the green side, with every success that I had, whether it was big or small, I was starting to make a name for myself in the department and the organization. And it shows as I worked my way up, through the organization. Early on, I inherited a very strong work ethic from my parents. So it really isn't in me to, give up or say this is too hard. I really use that as a motivator to keep putting my best foot forward and doing my research and building up on that. And I really learned early on how important constant communication is on tasks, on projects, and how that builds trust with your colleagues. I've made so many wonderful connections and friends in this field over the course of my 17 years. Really, it's been with the Brewers in technology that every single one of those people and interactions that I've had, whether it's someone very high up in the organization to someone that just started, they all encourage me and motivate me to show up every day. And I think it's a really cool field and industry that I'm in, and that just motivates me every day. Like I said early on, being a woman in tech is a challenge. Obviously, there's more women getting into the field now, and then you throw in being in a professional sports environment, which is primarily male dominated. Like I said, I'm constantly trying to make a name for myself. I've had in my 17 years with the Brewers, this was probably the hardest question for me to really sit down and think about, what challenges and successes have shaped my career. I've gone through so many good things, so many good projects. And one thing that certainly stuck out for me the most was probably during COVID. Everybody's world was flipped upside down. So not only being a woman in this field, I'm also a mother. And I think a lot of women and mothers can say you're always struggling to find a balance between work and home, and it's never easy. And you always feel like you should be giving more to work or to home. So COVID was certainly I would say, a challenge and a success for me in my career. Had to work through furloughs and layoffs while trying to keep up our high level of, help desk. I kind of had to go back to help desk because of kind of how our department was restructured. So trying to keep up with the needs of the organization while trying to homeschool my two little children while schools were closed was incredibly challenging. But I did find success in that. It helped improve my time management skills. I learned to prioritize a lot better because you're kind of forced to do it. And also delegate better to others in my department because I know I'm a kind of person where like I'll just do it and I'll get it done. So it kind of forced me to delegate. I've also found a lot of successes through I've gone through two major organization-wide phone system changes at the Brewers. Very, very challenging, probably the most challenging in my career work-wise that I went through, and I found success in that. So I think those would be the two big things that stand out for me. I've also found success, in building those strong relationships and bonds with my colleagues and showing my worth through solving problems, like I said, leading successful projects, just because I do work, I feel like I do work very hard and I'm very dedicated to the organization. I have, when people ask me, what do I love about working in technology? I truly love the variety that each day brings. I have said the same answer for, probably 17 years. Like every day is different. And I get to work with everybody in the organization. So I think that is super cool. You get to meet everybody. You're not no siloed to your department or your floor or whatever. Like I'm working with people all over the building in Arizona, our scouts throughout the country, the world. So it's really cool to kind of meet and see and hear their story and hear what their job is and how as a person in technology we can help them figure out creative ways to achieve what they're trying to do. So just working with the people are really cool. I also love that, like I said, every day is different. So, you may have meetings and certain things lined up for the day, but then, a curveball is thrown your way and you have to kind of readjust your workload and your schedule and kind of pivot from what you thought you were going to be doing into something else. And I love the variety of it. I love that every day is something different and working with somebody new, and it's really cool. That's what I like the most. I would say find someone in the field that you look up to, you respect, you can go to for advice, whether that's good or bad, get some feedback, kind of be a mentor to you. And I am very fortunate to have someone who happens to be the person that hired me at the Brewers years ago, that I still go to I can still go to all these years after I've worked with him and just pick up the phone and ask for advice, or we can kind of, pick up where we left off. So finding that mentor, I think, is crucial in this field as well. Another thing would be get an internship. Look for internships to gain on-site experience. I see how successful our internship program is at the Brewers and how we equip them to with the tools to succeed in a job after that. We've had interns that, like myself, that have, had the internship and then gotten the skills to get a full-time job with us, with other MLB teams, or just out at a different, company in IT. So we do a really great job equipping our interns to succeed. And I think an internship's really, really important to do that. And also, you get what you put into something. ask questions, job shadow someone in your department, get out there and network and meet people, find ways to stay up to date on industry trends, ask someone, hey, what kind of certifications do you think are valuable in this field? And then lastly, experience every area of IT you can. You may think you want to go down one road, but then you end up detouring and finding a different path that suits you. So really gain as much experience and exposure as you can. Sure, yeah. Our internships are posted online at brewers.com under job opportunities. You can also reach me at my brewer's email, which is nicole.gieryn, Gieryn, at brewers.com. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. I'm not very active on LinkedIn. I'm trying to get better at it, but it's a balance.
And that's it for today's episode of the Women in Tech series. A big thank you to our guest for sharing her story and inspiring us all. Make sure you check out all of the amazing things that are happening during Wisconsin Tech Month. There is so much to discover, from workshops to panels to networking events. Stay connected with our incredible community of tech leaders and innovators throughout the month of October. Thanks for listening.